Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters of the Week. This one is sort of like a special edition one because I do these particular stories whenever I come across them when I'm on a trip. And what I mean is this: I was just in Dallas this past weekend, hopefully for a Texas Rangers game. Unfortunately, it was rained out of all the days, so I had to spend some time, extra time at the hotel. And while I was there, a very interesting show came on. I think I've heard of it before, but I've never seen an episode. I think it's called Mysteries at the Museum. And it was quite fascinating because they were able to explore several different parts of the world, especially with strange creatures and entities that happen to be housed in museums. And one of the segments that the episode had was about this creature here. So because I saw it and it did fascinate me, I wanted to dedicate this cryptid of the week to it. And it has to do with an animal that it's weird. It somewhat, in one ways, is a cryptid because it's almost like one of a kind, but in other ways it's not because basically it seems like it's a hybrid of sorts. And it has to do with the strange creature known as the Maine Mutant, although it does go by another name called the Turner Beast. It all has to do where it was located at there in Turner, Maine. So you're looking at a picture of it here. There's actually several known pictures of it because they're all taken by the same person, and it has to do with how it was located. And it's a one of a kind deal because there haven't been any reports of another one of these creatures ever since it was killed back in the mid 2000s or so. So here's the whole story, and the episode was really good. Like the segment dedicated brought about some fascinating eyewitness reports. I was able to locate some of the information online, so I'm happy to share it with you here. So again, you have to go back to the mid 2000s, although the show made it seem like it happened a little earlier than that based on the years that people were reporting this. Somewhere in Turner, Maine, there was a series of incidences involving animals being killed, and not just regular animals like, I don't know, deers or the usual wildlife surrounding forests, but no, people's own pets were being killed. In fact, there were mainly dogs. There was a Doberman Pinscher that was found dead. There was a Rottweiler that was found dead. A Rottweiler, of all things. I mean, those things are pretty sturdy, like they can handle themselves pretty well. But in this case, now residents were stating that for a good while, and I think the article said somewhere around 15 years before that, sure enough, there was a series of these personal pet attacks where people had their pets outside, they were being attacked by something, and they were being killed by it. And on top of that, the residents there in that area were stating that they would also hear a bone-chilling sound of some sort. It was like a monstrous, really horrific cry. The show did a very good job of presenting, I guess, what was a discernible evidence of it. Like, it was all made up, but essentially they tried to recreate the sound effect. And my goodness, hearing that thing, the way it howled at the let's say at the dead of night, that would definitely put shivers behind your back. And then on top of that, whenever they would hear that howl at night, the residents would look out and they would see these eyes glowing in the night, obviously somewhere in the forest, looking straight at them. But whatever this thing was, it was definitely in their area, and then on top of that, it was on the hunt. So for a while their residents were a little mortified at the fact that they thought either they weren't safe or their pets weren't safe. There weren't really reports, though, of people being attacked, surprisingly enough. So you would think something along the lines of that kind of fear, that there would be something else in terms of like personal attacks involving humans, but nothing along those lines. Well, it all culminated into one mid 2006 incident. There was a lady by the name of Michelle O'Donnell, I think that's her name, Michelle O'Donnell, who lived there in Turner, Maine. She said that she saw something chasing a cat. It was larger than a dog, smaller than a wolf, and it was chasing a cat, and then unfortunately it was struck by a car as it was doing so, and this thing ended up dying. I guess she didn't really pay too much attention to it afterward, but she did happen to come across it, and when she did, that's when she took these photos that you're looking at here. Not really sure, I don't know if she saw it right away if it was something like mysterious. She did call it like a hybrid mutant of something. Those were her exact quotes. But I don't know if the shows didn't say if people knew right away that this was like a one of a kind deal, like that this was a cryptid of some sort. But somehow, some way, the information did spread as far as this creature started to reach some of the nearby locals, the ones that happen to deal with cryptozoology. And one of them that the show mentioned was this guy, Lauren Coleman, who is a very, very famous cryptozoologist. And I'll talk a bit more about him here in a minute. But he went to visit, but unfortunately by then, the body of this thing, whatever it was completely gone. Like it was down to the bone, like vultures within a day's time had completely decimated it. Everything was gone. So all we have now left in terms of any kind of evidence for the most part is the actual photographs that this lady took, and then on top of that there's this. Do you see that you're looking at a paw? That this happens to be from the very same creature. Now, as far as the creature and the way it was described is, it's again based on the pictures. It's larger than a dog, but smaller than a wolf. It has a shorter snout as well, almost like a stub snout of some sort. The way she described it too is it had a horrific smell, a very, very horrible stench to it, unlike anything ever seen before. It had a pretty large mouth. Think of it like a bush. It had like a crossbreed of, let's say, a dog and in this case a wolf. It was estimated to weigh about 40 or 50 pounds. It had also a thick bushy tail as well, and then one of the most distinct things is it had these curled fangs right over its lips. So it was definitely something a little unusual. It's not quite out of the world in terms of unusual, like it's not something from another planet, but it's still not like your ordinary dog. So at least the paw was inspected and it was kept and preserved by the guy there. And in fact, where it's located now, the only known evidence of this thing today happens to be at this place, this museum. The show highlighted it, in fact. It's a pretty cool place. If I'm ever by the Maine area, I'm gonna go visit it. But it's called the International Cryptozoology Museum, located there in Portland, Maine. It's the only one of its kind, so it's ironic. It's like its own cryptid of some sort because it's the only one in the world. But if you go there, located there inside one of those jars, I think it has formaldehyde, it's preserved, but you get to see that paw, and that's the only known evidence left of whatever this creature is. So on top of that, that place is pretty cool because if you go there, you'll see a whole bunch of other stuff. You'll see Bigfoot related stuff, you'll see prints, you'll see photographs. I was looking at some of the pictures and it looks pretty exciting. They even have little cool things that you can buy there. Like, this is pretty neat. This is an actual Sasquatch. So yes, somebody did make a watch for Sasquatches, or something along those lines for Sasquatch fans, and that's pretty cool too. So, but if you go there, you'll see that, and then you'll see a whole bunch of other things. Now, the remains were tested, and it was found that this thing was a mixture of some kind of half wolf, half dog. No real discernible evidence of what one way it is. Really, like, was it really a dog? Was it really a wolf? The show didn't really mention much about its testing. I kind of recall it doing it, but reading some other stuff online, it does seem like that was that the results of the exam itself. And then that's it. After this thing was dead and it was picked to the bone by the vultures, there has been no more incidences described within that area. So whatever it was, it definitely had its reign for a good while, maybe 10-15 years. But then that was it. Then once it was killed, then there was nothing else. So as far as this being some kind of hybrid mutant, some kind of mutant dog, some kind of mixed breed dog, some kind of cryptid, who knows? If anyone has any more information, that'd be great to hear. Nothing else as far as it being any known evidence anywhere else, like let's say in Texas or in California or any other parts of the U.S. But again, if anyone has any other information they'd like to share, that would be great to hear too. So what do you guys think? The Maine Mutant, or again, as others like to call it, the Turner Beast. Quite fascinating show. I'm going to look forward to see if they have any more on the YouTube channel. see if anyone has uploaded more interesting stuff. But still, it was quite fascinating to have like the, at least for my weekend, it was a little bit of a bummer to not be able to go to Texas Rangers game, but it did allow me at least to happen chance see this show, and then on top of that see this segment. So hope you enjoyed the information as well as I did when I was watching it. So all right, everybody, thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.